Well, this is it. This is the last so-called match week before we head into the 10-day World Cup break that MLS have, which I'm a little bit surprised that it was only 10 days. I felt like it should be a little bit more considering the fact that by the time each team gets back to action on June 23rd, a lot of those players are still in the World Cup because some of those players that is going to the World Cup are probably joining teams that is going to make it out of their group and move on to the knockout stage. And plus, for those that didn't make it out, they still need some rest before they have to come back to join their club. So it kind of didn't make any sense why MLS only have 10 days to rest. I feel like it should be 14. And as a Quakes fan, I wish there was a month of World Cup break. I mean, it's really hard to enjoy what the Quakes are doing right now. And for those of you wondering, am I going to be doing a preview if I'm going to attend that game on Wednesday? The answer is yes. I'll still attend that game, but in terms of the preview, nope. I'm not going to do a match preview. I'm going to talk about this game, but I'm not going to just do a match preview. And this is not because I'm lazy or anything. It's hard to talk about this team after what happened yesterday and just the overall problems that that team has been having throughout this whole season. But without further ado, let's actually talk about the other teams and some of the other games that is going to happen, because it's not just the Quakes versus the Revs for this midweek game. There's also 5 other games in this midweek, so pretty much half of the league, they're still going to have to play one more game before the World Cup break, and the other half will probably have a luxurious 14-day World Cup break. But I guess that's what happened when most of these teams that is playing in this already had their break before this World Cup break. Or maybe those other teams that's going to get 14 days World Cup break, those teams are going to have to play those midweek games later on, and some of these teams will not have to do in the second half of the season. But yeah, first of all, let's begin with Montreal versus Orlando, or should I say the sad derby, because this is a really, really sad game for both teams, because we know Montreal, they lost in the last match. They lost to Dallas, and just as you thought that Montreal fan kind of got excited with the team again after a 1-0 win against Houston, yeah, that was just because Houston is a team that just cannot win on the road, and it's just a curse that they're just been used to because of what happened back in 2006 when they decided to basically become a franchise and stole the Quakes from San Jose. But yeah, on the other hand, Orlando City, well, I really think this is it. This has to be the game that really could determine the fate of Jason Kreis's coaching career at Orlando City. I mean, if this was not the MLS, if this was any other place, especially in those league in Europe, Kreis should be fired by now. Like, you look at the losing streak that he's been going and how embarrassing that loss against Vancouver was. He should have been fired a long time ago, and he shouldn't even give another chance. But if Orlando City lose this one and make it 6 in a row, then I don't know what in the world does the front office of Orlando City thinking of keeping him for another game. Like, again, I know that they have injuries in their team, and I know the fact that, injuries obviously is one of the big problem for this Orlando City team, because early in the season when they had injuries, guess what happened? They didn't really do well whatsoever. But still, you still have guys like Dom Dwyer, Sasha Kleshton, guys that you basically bought in doing this kind of going all in year, and they're still not making impact for this team. So I just think that this has to be it for Jason Kreis. If he loses this game, he's got to get the sack. He has to get fired from this team. Like, nobody lose to Montreal besides Houston, which, like I said, I give them the excuse because they have that curse, but nobody lose to Montreal nowadays. So this is really do or die game for Jason Kreis, and his career as an Orlando City manager is just, it's up for debate and certainly up for discussion in this match. So yeah, I honestly don't know what's gonna happen in this match. This could be a very boring 0-0 draw, or it could be Orlando City finally end their losing streak, or maybe Montreal decide to pull off another victory, and eventually Jason Kreis will get his job or his managing career at Orlando City will go up in flames. And in some way, I'm thinking that a couple of Orlando City fans want them to lose this one, because I've been hearing a lot of fans want Kreis to get fired from this team. So we're going to see how that's going to go. But yeah, moving on to the next match, from the sad derby to probably the most exciting game through these midweek games. Columbus versus Atlanta, two teams that is in the top part of the table. I think this is a top of the table clash between both of these teams. Columbus have not lose a single game in 9 games now. They're 9 games unbeaten. And Atlanta drew 1-1 to NYCFC. And in some way they can thank Brant Guzan for that draw, because he was the reason why NYCFC didn't get all 3 points. The amount of saves that he had made in that game was just absolutely incredible. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. For the Crew, obviously I think they're going to get a couple of the players that were missing for that Red Bulls game. Guys like Zach Steffen, I think he'll be back in that goalkeeper role. And for Atlanta, this is a team that it's been showing that in these last couple of road games, they have problems really getting a resort and stuff like that. Well, I wouldn't say getting a resort, but they obviously have problems of trying to be like what they are at home, which is a free scoring team. And I always say that Atlanta, their home form compared to their road form might look very similar, but the style of play is just very different. And for Atlanta, whenever they go on the road, they always tend to try to grind out resort. And, certainly Columbus has the opportunity to extend their 10 or 9 game unbeaten streak to 10 games, but Atlanta is definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. But if they do get Zach Steffen back in this game, then I have a good feeling that Columbus could actually get something out of this, because Zach Steffen right now, the confident level of that kid after coming back from that man of the match performance against France, yeah, that is going to be really, really big for Columbus. So certainly a game that I'm hoping I can watch. Of course, I have to go to the Quakes game. I'll probably watch it in the stadium and maybe catch a little bit before I go to the stadium. But yeah, moving on into the next game, TFC versus DC United. TFC, of course, get a massive win against Philly last week. They won 2-0. While DC United disappoint me for giving them hope against Seattle and lost 2-1. And really, this one is a no-brainer, because after what happened with DC United last match and how they completely ruined my hope that they can actually be a decent team and started to turn around, your reward is that I don't think you have any chance of winning this game, because right now this is a game that I think TFC will definitely win, and it's certainly they are obviously are playing at home, which is a place that they, at least for part of these last couple of weeks, they have looked more comfortable than they are on the road. And knowing that DC United and how their road form has been throughout this whole year, it has not been good whatsoever. So I think TFC should win this one. This shouldn't be a really kind of hard one to talk about. And so is the next match between the Red Bulls versus the Sounders. Although I will say that, maybe the Sounders, after what happened in the last game where they finally got a victory and kind of snap out of that really horrendous drought that they were with them going 300 plus minutes without a goal, maybe this will get them going, but it's kind of hard to carry that momentum when your next team that you're facing is the Red Bulls, and that you have to travel all the way across the other side of the country with only 3 days, and that the team that you just beat was DC United, who are not very good. And the Red Bulls, I'm pretty sure they're going to probably get Tyler Adams back for this match. Again, I don't know if he'll be back in the starting 11 after just 3 days playing in that game against France with the U.S. men's national team. But if he does get back with the Red Bulls, then I have no doubt the Red Bulls should win this game. I mean, Seattle right now, there's still a lot of big problems. And going on the road on just such a short rest like this, I don't know if it's going to be... it's going to be a really tall task for them to get something out of it. And if they do get something out of them, then, maybe you could... If you're a Sounders fan, maybe you could kind of believe the fact that this team is started to maybe get things going again. But from what I heard from the media and certainly from the fans, they said that this team is going to be starting their rebuild. Their GM, Garth Lagerwey, have said that he is planning to potentially start this rebuild and potentially get rid of a lot of this guy and just a clean slate for the Sounders, and rightfully so. I think this Seattle team, the core that they've been relying on for these last couple of years have just aged really badly, and it just felt like the core that they have is just over. Like, the time is literally up. Guys that they've been relying on, like Clint Dempsey and Nicholas Ladero and Ozzy Alonso and all those guys, they are getting really, really old. Well, not Nicholas Ladero, that is, but still, I think the main core of the Sounders, the time is just runs out, and this is just part of the rebuilding process where they're gonna tear it all down, start all over again, and hopefully next year they'll be more competitive. And I have no problem with that, because Seattle, they've been having so much success ever since they entered the league, and you just feel like at some point that season is going to happen where everything just fall off the cliff for them, and that they're going to have to be forced to rebuild. And I really think this is probably the best time to do it, And as much as a lot of Sounders fans are going absolutely crazy right now, I've been hearing a lot of Sounders fans are absolutely incredibly unhappy with what had happened this season. Well, yes, I do agree that they're not happy of what's going on this season, but at least you have a lot of success for the last 10 years, and I just feel like for those people that say that they're not happy of what happened and they think that this is just one of the worst season ever and calling the owner out, then I feel like they've been just incredibly spoiled by the fact that the success the Sounders have. Every single team is not going to be always just incredible every single year. I mean, for those people, a message to all those Sounders fans that are not happy and just kind of feel spoiled because you're having a bad year, at least you're not like the other team. At least you're not like my Quakes team that have really never had success ever since we got back in the league in 2008. Well, we did have 1 or 2 year success, but that was it. And at least you're not like a Rapids fan that are just, it has gone downhill for a lot. And at least you're not like other team, like maybe Philly is another example of just being depressed all the time. So, be thankful of that. Instead of just immediately complain about your owner, immediately said that this team sucked forever, even though you have so much success in the past. Speaking of Colorado, they are going to be playing this week, and they're going to be playing against the Chicago Fire. And remember what I said about how the Fire are due to get a loss in the next game? Well, it looked like that probably will not be the case because they're playing against Colorado. And the Rapids right now, what can you say? about the Rapids that hasn't said already. This team absolutely is hot garbage. And in some ways, as a Quakes fan, if I can maybe look something positive, at least I could say that I'm not like a Rapids fan, which this losing streak has just completely destroyed them. Like, they're now 8 game into this losing streak. It just feels like they will never win again. And, they're playing a Chicago team that are not necessarily very good on the road, but they have found ways to win on the road before. I mean, remember, Chicago beat New York on the road, and there was another team, I forgot who they beat on the road. I think it was Orlando City that they beat on the road. And they're playing a Rapids team that is just completely lost right now. So I expect them to potentially get a win. And then maybe in the next match they will finally get that loss that they've been kind of due for because of how this season has been for them, which is very inconsistent. But yeah, moving on to the last match. And last but not least, got to talk about the Quakes versus the Refs. New England drew 1-1 to Chicago in the last match, and the Quake, yeah, whip is real. And I should pretty much capitalize all this letter because you know what happened in the last match, and the pain is still fresh in me. Okay, it hasn't even been. It's been kind of right about 24 hours since that horrendous collapse that we had in the end of the game, and just probably the most heartbreaking loss that I have suffered as a Quakes fan so far. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, really, I feel like as low as the expectation that I have set for this team now, they always find ways to disappoint you even more. And I just have a feeling when they play against New England, they're going to somehow find even a worse way to lose. I think so far for the Quakes, they've been used a lot of different ways to disappoint me. They have used the way of just absolutely awful defense to break your heart. They have used the way that whenever they go on the road, it seemed like they were going to get a draw. Oh wait, we concede in the 85th minute or the 90th minute, and we didn't get a single point out of that. Or it's like what happened last night, where you think we were leading 3-2, you think that we were finally gonna get a win at home, and then they do that. So I'm guessing the next thing that they will incredibly disappoint me is that they're gonna lose like 8-0 against New England. They're going to lose 8-0 against New England. They're going to get completely blown out. And by the time the second half begin, when they are down 5-0, the whole Avaya Stadium is just full of empty seats. And believe it or not, I will be really surprised if there's not empty seats in that game. In that LAFC game, there wasn't really a lot of empty seats. But the reason why there wasn't a lot of empty seats was because there was a lot of LAFC fans. I mean, if you watch my vlog and you watch when LAFC scored that 4th goal, you look how loud it got. That just tells you how many LAFC fans was there. And if it wasn't for them, the stadium would be pretty empty. And in this game, since they're playing against New England, which, no disrespect to New England, but I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a lot of fans that travel all the way across the other side of the country for a midweek game to support them. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 diehard Revs fans that do that, but I doubt it's not like the amount that we saw last night with LAFC fans just kind of like took over Avaya Stadium in some way. And the fact that it's a midweek game. So, and usually midweek game is a very tough sell in terms of every single game, and you also have a bad team. So I have a feeling it's going to be pretty empty at Avaya Stadium, and really, if it's an empty stadium, then that's just a testament to show that why we are just really bad, and the fans are they don't care anymore. And I'm kind of one of those people, but the only reason why I continue to go to these games is, 1, I still have to do my match vlog stuff, and 2, it's that I'm trying my best to at least enjoy them play for once, And it's just getting to a point where if this continues, then I gotta do what Arsenal Fan TV does, which is just bring a banner. Just bring a banner and protest. And just literally put a Star Hey Out banner right in the middle of the game and just express my feelings about this team. But either way, guys, that is pretty much it for this match preview of these midweek games. There won't be another one of these until 10 days later. I'll still do the match review, which I'll do it on Thursday because I know for a fact that I'm going to have to get late back home on Wednesday, and I have school the very next day, so I don't want to do it that day. I'll do it on Thursday, and then it's basically the World Cup, and I also do the World Cup preview on Wednesday, I think. Yeah. Well, there's only one game to preview on the first day of the World Cup, which is the Russia versus Saudi Arabia match, but still, I'm going to preview that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.